Hey guys, and welcome back to another Conan Exiles video. Today we are on the Savage Wilds modded map, on the eastern side of map square E7, building a coastside tower. All of the mods used are in the pinned comment below, so without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, I started off with of course the baseplate. This baseplate design looks quite complex, however I do have a blueprint for you that should hopefully help with constructing it. The baseplate itself actually isn't too hard to build, and I've chosen to build it with a mix of Aquilonian and Frontier foundations to get a good looking mix of ornate marble and dark clean wood. Once I'd finished the baseplate, it was then time for the walls. I chose to use Aquilonian walls. They are a great choice to match the white and dark brown tones of the baseplate, and they will play really nicely with the lighting that I'll be using later on in the furnishing phase. I built these walls 2 tiles high for the ground floor, and I also added walls onto the wedge accents on the exterior of each 3x2 section. I then began to build the staircase, which turned out to be something of a nightmare. I chose to go with a receded staircase design to allow movement around the staircase on the ground floor. However, this turned out to cause some pretty bad stability issues later down the line, so you could just run the staircase against the wall if you don't want to create even more work for yourself. I created the first floor using Aquilonian square, wedge and vaulted ceilings, which will create some really nice shapes on the floor below. Next I built up the walls on the first floor. Initially I built the walls on the 3x2 sections to leave a 3x1 balcony on the exterior on each side, though I would eventually change this design and build full walls mirroring the floor below. Once I'd finished those walls, I then moved the staircase inwards and built ceilings over the first floor again, using Argosian square, wedge and vaulted ceilings. Eventually, once I'd made some more adjustments to the staircase, I built the tower shaft upwards to a height of 4 tiles from the first floor ceilings. I then used Argosian ceilings to build out a 1 tile exterior perimeter at the top of these walls, and this is where those staircase issues really began. I had to build pillars up on the wedges to give the stairs just enough stability so that I could eventually place them. In retrospect, had I just ran the stairs up the walls in the first place, this could have all been avoided, but apparently I like making life difficult for myself. Eventually, I got the stairs up to the top of the tower shaft and then built ceilings to cap off the tower, initially closing said ceilings but later removing the central wedge section for verticality. I then used Argosian fences to close off any edges that could lead to dangerous falls. Next are the exterior walls. Between the 3x2 sections are wedges that connect the build together, and I'll be using these to make the exterior walls traversable. This was a pretty simple procedure. I just built the walls up 2 tiles high, capped it off with Argosian ceilings, and then added fences and wedged accents to make these walls a little bit more interesting. Finally, the roofing. This was a pretty tough choice as there were 4 really good choices for this build. I had to choose between Yamatai, Khitan, Argosian or Aquilonian roofing, and I eventually settled on Khitan. There are very slight pros and cons to each material, but generally, they all play really nicely with this build and the colours that are already present in this design. I chose Khitan because of its close, but not too close, colour parity with the Aquilonian walls, and they're contrasted just enough by the gold and brown elements of said walls that they complement it quite nicely. I built very simple roofs across the top of the first floor, including footers at the base of the tower shaft, and then quickly built up the wedge elements at the entrance to the tower. Finally, when the shell of the build was done, it was then time to, of course, furnish. Approaching the build, I've changed a couple of the elements of the design, most notably the head of the tower, and I've lit the entrance with statues of guidance. Entering the tower, this is the home of 2 adventurers named Atticus and Aymer. Atticus is a war-forged Aquilonian army veteran who found himself in the Savage Wilds after escaping kidnap and subsequent ritual sacrifice by a local tribe of Yogg cultists who had taken him in the night on the final night of his military campaign. Aymer, a nature elf, had travelled to the Savage Wilds to help establish an elven foothold in the area. The two ran into each other pretty quickly, finding that Atticus's mastery of the sword and shield complemented Aymer's archery abilities quite nicely. These individual talents proved invaluable in surviving the Savage Wilds, and thus the two chose to travel and live together until Atticus is able to find a way home. The two have settled in this tower, built in the style of Atticus's native architecture but decorated in certain areas with a clear elven flair. The two are very comfortable in this tower base, with more than enough room for the two to eat, sleep and relax. The tower itself includes plenty of useful amenities, including a decent sized kitchen, 2 bedrooms, a library and a storage room, along with the exterior walls and the head of the tower, providing ample scouting opportunities for the nearby area. As an extra added bonus, due to its proximity to nearby grasslands and of course the water the tower is built near, food is a very ample resource in this area, from either the wildlife or the sea life. This coastside tower offers plenty of utility and comfort for the residents, whilst also being a visually attractive base, and outside of this setting this design could be used for plenty of different ideas, such as corner castle towers, watchtowers, beacons, or it could even be upscaled for temples or libraries. And there we have it, a coastside tower on the Savage Wilds in Map Square E7. Thanks for watching. This was a design I thought of before my Build Better Towers video, and I think this build came out really nicely, and the various architectural detailing elements work really nicely to make this tower much more attractive. As always, you'll find all the links to my Twitch, Discord, Twitter, Patreon and NordVPN discounts in the description below, along with credit for the music used in this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I put out at least 2 videos a week, so there's always plenty of content to come. If you have any suggestions for future builds, I would love to hear them in the comments below. As always, a massive thanks to our patrons Sammy, Sir Dialot, Randar, Connor, Blue Ivy, Velma, Torn, Eagle Rose and Maril224. Again, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.